Hello and welcome to my studio. It's Lois here from Lois and Morgana Davidson Art, and welcome to another experimental studio vlog. As I think I've said before, as a full-time artist, I spend most of my time in the studio experimenting, practicing, trying to work out how to paint different scenes, things that I'm not used to or have little experience with. And of course, just generally trying to hone my skills and learn things that I don't know so that I can sort of expand my repertoire as an artist. Recently, a few of my patrons on Patreon have asked if I can start to maybe do some more urban scenes. So I decided today to begin experimenting. And while there's only a few buildings in the background of this snowy park scene, I think it was a good starting point. This painting goes through some very ugly stages, and to be quite frank, I almost gave up on it a couple of times. But when you're experimenting and you think things have maybe gone wrong, then very often that's the time when you can think, okay, so I've sort of lost the direction of this. Let's see what else I can do with it. And so you then begin to experiment even more and even more freely because you've taken the pressure off yourself. So I hope you enjoy watching this time lapse and maybe get something from it, even if it's just to sort of push through the ugly stage in your painting, because you've still got a lot to learn from it, even if it's not going quite according to plan. I'm coming to the end of the practice session, and I decided to spatter some of the Payne's Grey onto the painting first, then dip into a lot of white gouache and try to give the scene the effect of a snowstorm. This is a first for me. I don't think I've ever painted a snowstorm in this way before, and I think it works quite nicely actually. And I think, to be honest, it really works well with the fact that the painting itself is very loose and not particularly good. But what happens is, as soon as the snow is painted on with a fan brush, just spattering on these random drops of random different sizes across the scene, it actually brings the whole thing together and harmonises it a lot more. I forgot to mention at the beginning of this is a limited palette experiment, just using two colours, Payne's Grey and Burnt Sienna. Obviously Payne's Grey has been used for the majority of it. And then of course, as well as those two colours, I've used my white gouache at the end. So what have I learnt from this? Well, I've learnt that I need to practice my mid-ground trees, my distant trees a lot more. I need to practice getting buildings in, although I'm quite happy with the suggestion of the blocks of flats or apartments in the distance and the fence or the wall that follows the line of perspective to then arrive at the focal point of the two figures having a snowy walk. It's also reinforced to me how important it is to experiment and not worry about the finished result, but just take the pressure off myself and enjoy the process and enjoy finding out what happens if I try different things. If I'd stopped this painting at the ugly stage, of which there was quite a few, then I wouldn't have learnt as much as I've learnt. And I wouldn't have got this experimental result, which I'm really pleased with. I can see so much that I can take forward into other paintings from this. And that, of course, is always a good thing. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching another studio vlog and that it'll encourage you to practice in a sort of open-ended way yourself without trying necessarily for a finished result, but just trying to create certain effects and then seeing what happens, seeing what works and seeing what doesn't work. Many thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, then please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. It's free to do, and of course it lets YouTube know that people want to see our videos and pushes them out to more. And I'd just like to thank everyone that supports us on Patreon, all the new patrons, thanks so much. We really do appreciate each and every one of you, and you really help us to keep this channel going. I'm back to the studio because I've got a lot of stuff that I'm working on at the moment, so I'll see you again soon. Take care and happy painting. Bye.